So we're here at the GIN, the Global Impact Investing Network Investor Forum in Copenhagen, and I'm here with Dan. And why don't you introduce yourself and tell me about the impact you're looking to make in the world?
Yeah, so I'm Dan, fund manager of the Polestar Capital Circle Debt Fund. And Polestar Capital is a fund manager with the mission to bring our economy back within the planetary boundaries. So basically we finance transitions that support that journey in e-mobility, in the circular economy, in sustainable housing, to enable the journey towards a sustainable economy.
And where are you at in that process?
Well, so personally, where I'm at, I'm the fund manager of the Circular Economy Debt Fund. What we finance is demonstration plans where a new, an innovative technology in recycling or in the bioeconomy is applied for the first time. And at one hand, we still have to deploy the fund that we currently raised, but in the past we have financed 14 plants already. And what you see there is the let's say the plastic recycling plants that we financed in 2015, 2016. They're now acquired by big corporations that roll the technology around the globe, and that gives me a lot of satisfaction that we do it for a reason. You know, it's a big struggle to get the financing in place. To support these companies to become financeable. A lot of things go wrong in that journey. So it may take longer, it may cost more. People get into a fight because of stress generated by the returns not being as they hoped for. But if it works, ultimately, there's a global disruption of value chains to be made, and that has a lot of impact. And the good thing is you can visit the plants that we financed years back. They're there. The impact is being made at the spot, and that's really cool to see.
Give me like a specific success story.
Yeah, so I think what's most exciting to me is that we are now looking at 187 R&D plants. So it's basically production facilities that are already out there, but not at commercial scale yet, that are making the step towards a commercial scale plant, and that's what we could finance. And the innovation is just so wide. I could have not imagined when we set up this fund that there was so much out there. It's in alternative proteins. It's in plastics being made from sewage slip that is eaten by bacteria that create a chemical fat that you can make plastics of. It's innovations that I could never have thought actually existed. And that's really what drives me to be the manager of this fund. At the same time, what's cool to see is that what we financed in the past, which we now believe is less innovative, for example, going from plastics towards circular naphtha, that's now happening already at various companies around the globe. But at the time, that was really a breakthrough, and to see that is happening now at large scale by companies that we financed in the past, obviously that's also something to be very proud of. So I'm happy in the job that I have.
What's the biggest hurdle you face right now?
You know, if you do something new, there's always various challenges to tackle. One of the challenges I think that a lot of the GPs here at the GIN cope with is that if you do something different, if that can be because you apply capital in a sector that isn't mainstream, you have to convince people of that story, and people need to take the time to listen, to understand it, and to be convinced. That's a challenge that almost all GPs invest in impact have. Specifically for our fund, a current challenge is that permitting, also because of inflation, competing with traditional value chains. Those are specific challenges that we see in the circular economy. Also, regulations are not always clear. So the question, what is waste, seems an easy question. But it can be that you have a PET bottle in your hand which is recycled, but technically it's still waste because it never lost its waste status. It means you can't export it. You can only sell it in certain ways. So it has no value. And these kind of regulations need to develop quickly to enable actually technology to come to the market. Many challenges. The good thing is it makes it fun as well, because if you can cope with these challenges and bring something to the market that is able of disrupting the existing value chain, that's super cool. And that's what we do it for.
Where do you see this going? Like, what's the future look like with your fund?
Well, So we believe the future must be circular. Why is that? Well, simply because we have doubled our material usage in the last 30 years, and if we don't make the transition towards a circular economy, we're going to double our material use again in the next 30 years. If you look at, and the interesting thing, we're in Denmark here today. In Denmark, they consume 4 times what the Earth can provide for in 1 year. That's not a sustainable model. If you bring that towards 8, we're eating basically the Earth alive, and that cannot sustain forever. So something has to happen. And the circular economy is basically a concept where you disconnect economic activity from negative impacts on the environment. Well, that's at least the goal. And making steps into that direction is a necessity. Whether you look at CO2 emissions or nitrogen emissions or chemical compounds in the environment, and all these, we look at the planetary boundaries from the Polestar Capital perspective. We have to act within those planetary boundaries to survive as a species on the long term. So it will happen. It will be challenging. It will come in steps. It will take time. But the future is sustainable. It cannot be different, because otherwise, as a species, we have no future.
What are you hoping to get out of this conference?
There's very interested speakers around, various interesting speakers. At the same time, we don't come for the content here today. My day exists entirely out of networking with LPs that we already knew of, with new LPs, with peers. I can also here meet parties like Closed Loop Partners or Circularity Capital and other venture capital investors in the circular economy space. We exchange our challenges and our solutions for those challenges, and sometimes even leads. So that's very interesting, but most of the gin for me is around making quick connections to follow up later. And unfortunately, I haven't really been to the presentations around. And I will for sure look a couple of them up online. But there's so much to do. For me, it's mainly about quick introductions here today.
What does an ideal connection look like for you right now?
So, as a fund manager, basically what you do is you connect capital with the people that need it, with the entrepreneurs that have a company that actually delivers an impact. So I'm looking for both, always, right? Now, visiting the gin is mostly targeting, obviously, investors, right? So I had a couple of introduction meetings. The funny thing is also with Dutch parties that I have to meet here, because in the Netherlands, for whatever reason, it's difficult to meet each other. Basically here it's about making a quick connection, see, okay, could we cooperate either by co-investing or because you could invest in our fund, are there potential leads that you can't serve yourself that we could potentially finance?
If an investor or another group wanted to contact you online, like how do they find you?
Well, the good thing is there's only one person with my name, so if you put it there, they for sure will find me. But if they go to the Polestar Capital website or PCDF, which is the fund that I'm the fund manager of, or they just Google Innovative Circular Production Facility Financing, they should be able to find me. But what's much more important, I think, if you are an investor and you want to make impact, define your strategy. What impact do you want to make? Think through of how you would like to make that impact. So think of your own strategic plan and asset allocation strategy, and you don't even have to invest via Polestar Capital, but please just invest it in impact, because there's so many challenges to overcome, and there's so many good investors that can allocate your money in the way and that fits your strategy best. We're a piece of the puzzle, not the only one. So it's even more important that they invest in impact, and hopefully somebody that we're a good fit for finds us as well.
How would you describe what a perfect fit is?
So the thing is, we're experts in impact private debt. So if you're looking for impact private debt and you're open to investing in the Netherlands, we're a party to go to. But we don't make we don't finance transitions all by ourselves. So if you, for example, want to finance climate tech, There's a role to play for venture capital, there's a role to play for private equity, there's a role to play for private debt. There should be some concessional financing or some potentially governmental funding for building the ecosystems that are beneficial for these climate tech innovations to come to the market. So it depends on what you are. Are you a government or are you an LP? If you're an LP, do you have a specific impact target, or do you want to outperform risk return wise? And I think everything is possible in the impact space, but given your strategy, there's different types of allocations that are the best fit. I hope that people that look for impact private debt will find us. We have a couple of very good impact private debt managers, not that much in the Netherlands, but in other countries that we cooperate with. So if you can't invest in the Netherlands, please reach out as well. I'm happy to connect you, because what's most important is that capital finds its way into the much needed transitions, whether or not via Polestar Capital. Tot ziens.
Tot ziens.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very
Yes.
much, Jacob.
No, thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.